Welcome back to another episode of Inside Richmond, the City's Pulse. I'm Lindsay Darnell, your host, and today I'm excited to have Sarah Mitchell, the Manager of Economic Development with the EDC of Wayne County. I have Jeb Reece, Director of Strategic Initiatives with Intend Indiana, and then Bennett Bensman, Real Estate Manager with Intend Indiana. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
So I have you guys on here to talk about Vaile Neighborhood Project, but let's talk about Intend Indiana. What is Intend Indiana and what do you guys do?
Yeah, so Intend is a statewide nonprofit. We're based out of Indianapolis, and we partner with different communities throughout the state to help them deliver on 4 key areas. So we develop and sell affordable houses for homeownership, typically around downtowns throughout Indiana, which is what we're doing in Vaile. We also operate 2 different loan funds, one that furthers affordable housing lending across the state, and the other that lends to small businesses around the state to help them get like startup money, like equipment purchase, things like that. And then we also support communities creating land banks.
That's exciting to hear, especially with this happening in Richmond and in Vaile Neighborhood. Sarah, you work for the EDC of Wayne County, the Economic Development Corporation of Wayne County. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
So we mostly focus on industrial development. We also work with workforce development, business retention and expansion efforts. And in our last strategic plan, we added in quality of life and quality of place. And as a part of that, that's community development and housing development.
And so, I know we've kind of been talking about this a lot. There was a groundbreaking in Vaile Neighborhood. You guys have been pushing it. I've shared it on our social media as well. 22 new affordable homes are going into Vaile Neighborhood. So I wanted to kind of start off asking, for those who may not be familiar, what is the Vaile Neighborhood Project and what are you hoping to accomplish with it?
Sure. So the Vaile Neighborhood Project is a strategic initiative looking at revitalization of a neighborhood. And as a part of that, we are doing infill development. There'll be 2 different strategies that are used as a part of our Wayne County Blight Bundle that was submitted to the IEDC, where we were recently awarded $5.1 million. So this is a part of that project. And we are working with Intend Indiana to develop those new homes in a neighborhood that they could consider a tipping point neighborhood, meaning it could tip in a positive direction or it could tip in a negative direction. And so we're wanting to work with Intend, developing these 22 new homes to tip this neighborhood into a positive direction.
And I think that's great because, there is a lot of vacant lots there, whether it was from blight or fires to the homes that were in that neighborhood. I would say, this is going to tip it into, the positive side. We need more affordable homes, not just in Richmond, but all across Indiana.
Yes. And so as a part of that, what makes these homes affordable is these are going into a distressed neighborhood. So with the distress, when you pencil out building a brand new home in these neighborhoods, they will not meet that appraisal gap. So as a part of that, it may appraise at a certain price that is less than what it costs to build that home. And this is what Intend works with, the home program through the federal government to help subsidize these properties so they're at an affordable price point.
And I think I have seen questions on social media about that, or how much are these homes going to cost? So it's nice to know that you're not going to be paying what it might cost to build them. You're going to be paying a little bit less, so it is affordable.
That's correct. Yeah, so it's important that we take a look at these properties as a part of the blight elimination program, that they weren't just unsightly, they had to be unsafe as well. That was a part of the requirements of the blight elimination program. So as we looked at building in Vaile, specifically looking at the NSP program, so that's the Neighborhood Stabilization Program that happened prior to Stellar, properties had to be foreclosed upon. It was a part of the output of the Bush administration that during the foreclosure crisis and the Great Recession, there was emphasis on making sure the neighborhoods didn't fail. And as a part of that, these funds were issued to help with that appraisal gap that I talked about earlier. So the properties did not appraise out for what was put into them. That wasn't the intent of the program.
Okay. Can you walk us through what is being built and what will these 22 homes look like and who are they designed for?
I'm going to kick that answer to Bennett.
Yeah, I'd love to answer that. All of these homes, they're all single family, 4 families. It's a combination of 2-story and 1-story. All of our 2 stories have a 3-bed, 2.5 bath with a half bath downstairs. All the 1 stories are 3-bed, 2-bath. And we use very high quality products. We do not, you won't see any vinyl siding or any of the kind of contractor grade building materials. We like to set our home buyers up for strong equity and easy maintenance and just a high quality product.
So these homes are going to be built to last.
Right. Just because they are affordable does not mean that they are not quality.
Right. Okay. And then these homes are being built on vacant lots. How will this infill development help address blight and improve the neighborhood overall?
Sure, I'll start there if that's okay. I think one of the best parts about this program is its focus on home ownership. So this will increase home ownership in the neighborhood, which is always a positive when I talk about that tipping point area, the percentage of renter versus owner occupied. So this will tip it a little bit further with the owner occupancy. And it's also great because it will infill in these gaps in the neighborhood that were left by the blight program.
Yeah, and I would add, these new houses they're going to add to the vibrancy of the neighborhood. They're going to improve the quality of place within Vaile. A neighborhood just south of downtown Richmond that itself is also seeing a lot of investment. And so it's going to be a great equity building opportunity for our future home buyers.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's amazing. I really think we need to add these affordable homes in the neighborhoods that are, you're seeing blight and you're seeing vacant lots. The project involves several partners. How are organizations like Intend Indiana, Habitat for Humanity, and the Richmond Housing Authority working together on this effort?
Sure, I'll start there. Yeah, so this is truly a collaborative effort. This is a great partnership that was created to develop this program for neighborhood revitalization in the Vaile neighborhood. One of the first partners that we looked at and talked with was both the Housing Authority of Richmond and Habitat for Humanity. And this was an outlay from the blight elimination program. They had several lots that they were holding on to, mowing, taking care of, insuring, and we were looking to develop. They were donated to them from the city of Richmond as a part of the effort from the blight elimination to develop affordable housing. There's been a lot of difficulty in being able to develop in these neighborhoods as reasons we discussed earlier with the appraisal gap, being able to cover that. And Intend came along. They've been great partners for us in establishing a land bank here in Richmond and Wayne County. And then we had the Wayne County Foundation that came aboard. And they've been really instrumental in helping Intend with an impact investing loan. And so I'll let Bennett and Jeb talk a little bit about the impact investing loan from the Wayne County Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything we do, like I said, we work out of Indianapolis. Our work requires strong partnerships. So all these projects are made possible by partners like the Wayne County Foundation and the EDC of Wayne County. And our work with the foundation is really helping to speed up the timeline for developing these houses. So through their impact investing program, we're really able to escalate how much we can build at once and further that impact in the neighborhood that much quicker. So.
And things are actually ramping up with that. Are you guys going to be building soon?
I hear it's any time, yeah.
Yes, construction will start in April.
Oh, wow. So right around the
dirt
corner.
moving, within the next couple weeks.
Awesome. That's amazing. It is.
So another one of our key partners is the state of Indiana through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. They are generous with a $1.12 million grant for this program. In addition to that, our matching for this program is from the Housing Accelerator Program, which is helping to establish homes in neighborhoods and subdivisions that were unfinished. And so that funding is going strictly to those programs, but it was used as match for this program.
And if I could add to that, the ready funds from the state that are being used are actually made possible by the Lilly Endowment. So those are philanthropic, non-governmental funds that are being brought right here to Richmond, which is really huge. And we're also working with the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, IHCDA, to layer in home funds from a federal program that they have as well.
And what are the home funds, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so it really just helps us get the sales price down to what that low income, moderate income buyer can afford. Okay. It also folds in like down payment assistance for the buyer as well, so that we can get their monthly payment down to hopefully below what they're paying for rent.
That's the goal.
Can you explain how the Home Matters home ownership program works for first-time buyers step by step?
Yeah, sure. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first step is to get income qualified. We do that through our Edge Fund initiative. And once you're income qualified, if you have a mortgage company that you want to work with, we encourage you to go ahead and work with them. If you do not have a mortgage company, we can pair you up with one of our partner mortgage companies. You'll obviously then go through the mortgage qualification process so you can get a pre-approval letter. And at that point, you're ready to come pick your home. So we will show you the homes on offer. If the home is completed, we can go right into a purchase agreement. If it's still not finished yet, we have what's called a reservation agreement, which reserves that home for you so that when it is actually complete, we go ahead and execute that purchase agreement.
And then with this, you know, with the help, the assistance with the down payment, is it a certain amount that you get assistance with down payment, or is it just the 3%?
It's up to $20,000.
Okay.
And it kind of varies and depends on income and a few other factors, but it's up to $20,000.
And then you guys are going to be hosting classes to learn more about this program and how to get qualified. Yeah.
So we host a HUD certified homeownership 101 class. We do it throughout the state, but we have we're hosting one at the Vaile Elementary School on the 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. Our class is a 4-session program where in the first program we'll talk about budgeting and just kind of general personal finance. In the second session, there's actually a lender that will come talk to you about preparing yourself to be ready, mortgage ready, to get qualified when you apply for your mortgage. The third session is with my team, Affordable Home Matters, where we'll walk you through the full real estate transaction process from picking your realtor, things to look for, inspections, all the way to a closing and learning how to maintain your property. And then the fourth session, we kind of bring it all together. We have the lenders there, we have Edge Fund, we have us, and we give attendees the opportunity to even start with a soft credit pull so they can kind of get just a general idea of where they are financially and whether they're ready to go forward with buying a home now, or maybe they might have just a little bit of credit work or some things that they need to do before they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could add to that, what makes this Homeownership 101 course so special is that we're doing it with our partners at the EDC and also our partners at the Wayne County Foundation, but we're also partnering with Reed Health and Richmond Community Schools. So like Bennett said, it will be hosted at Vaile Elementary right there in the neighborhood. And there will also be food provided for free, childcare provided for free, and I would just add that it's for anybody who's interested in homeownership, whether they think they're ready or not, or whether they're interested in a house or Vaile or not. It's open to everybody, and it's a really awesome opportunity to start that process for yourself.
What income requirements or qualifications will potential buyers need to meet to be eligible?
Yeah, so most of our homes are reserved for people that earn under 80% of the area median income. And for a household of one, that's $47,000, and a household of four is $68,000. And then we do have a smaller number of homes that are reserved for what we call workforce housing, and that is between 80 and 120% of the area median income. Again, a household of 1 is 71,000, and a household of 4 is 102,000.
Okay. So it's very doable for a single person that's making $45,000 a year.
We think a lot more people may qualify than they think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They just have to make sure that their credit's good enough, right?
Yeah, and that's obviously kind of determined on the lender. So,
Okay.
You would still have to qualify for a traditional mortgage. And so, it's kind of the lender's parameters or what.
Yeah. And the great thing about this project is, we're building 22 houses over 2 years. So, your credit may not be where it needs to be right now, but you could get the process started, and maybe one of those year 2 houses are for you.
I will say that it's very easy to kind of turn your credit around. You can get a prepaid debit card and put $200 on it, spend $100 on it a month, and just pay it off each month. And that's going to build your credit.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that as far as the timeline is concerned, the homes will develop through the end of 2028. So yes, we're getting started on the first 4 in April, which is super exciting. But those homes could be available as soon as June. Also, they'll start another set of properties of 7 thereafter, probably around June. So there'll be 11 in that first kind of year of development. And then the second year of development, there'll be another 11 properties.
Yeah, maybe someone just signed a lease and they want to wait that full 12 months before they're ready for, or before their home is done. So
yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's very easy to turn your credit around. Just get a prepaid debit card or not debit card, credit card, or sign up for a credit card. I'll just give a quick example. My 18-year-old niece got a credit card when she turned 18, would spend $100 a month on it for gas or food. Each time that bill came, she would pay it off. And a year and a half later, she has a really decent credit score, higher than mine, which I'm jealous. But I mean, it is doable. You just don't want to overdo it. Just, do small transactions, something that you can pay off on that next bill.
And while we're here to promote the Vaile neighborhood and these home ownership opportunities in Vaile, the credit counseling isn't just for participants that want to buy a house in Vaile. Reed made sure that as a part of this initiative, they covered for the food costs and dinner each evening, so that if someone wanted to buy a home in, let's say, Hidden Valley, that's a part of the Housing Accelerator program, they could still attend this course and have the HUD certification they would need for like a FHA loan.
Oh, wow.
So yes, It's not just for people that want to live in Vaile. This Homeownership 101 course is for pretty much anybody in Wayne County.
Really? Yeah, anybody.
Yeah, and the school's pretty big, so I think we can hold quite a few people, right?
Yeah, that's good to know. That's really good information to know. How will you ensure eligible residents are aware of and able to access this opportunity?
So as a part of this initiative with the Homeownership 101s, we'll plan to have another set around August, mid-August, and then quarterly thereafter. So as a part of that, there'll be a lot of public outreach. We've also been sending this to a lot of employers. As we mentioned earlier, Reed is partnering with this Homeownership 101. They're our largest employer in the county. Also, Richmond Community Schools are our second largest employer. We're hosting these at their facilities. They've been spreading that information, but we've also sent it out to a lot of other employers in and around Wayne County that would have employees that would be eligible for the program.
And that's good to know. So if no one can make it during April's courses, they can come in, register for August, and then, like you said, quarterly.
Yes.
Okay. And then what types of financial assistance are available, such as the down payment? I know we were talking about that, up to $20,000 down payment support, or special mortgage programs. And how do you ensure long-term affordability for buyers?
Yeah, so lots of banks have different types of mortgage programs, especially for like low to moderate income home buyers, especially for first-time home buyers. So those are all worth checking out. Every bank's a little different. In this project, a lot of the houses that would be sold to those earning below 80% of the median income, will have down payment assistance wrapped up. And like Bennett mentioned earlier, that will typically go up to $20,000 per a home. So that's a really great way to get ahead. As a part of that down payment assistance, there is a required amount of time to stick with the home. So that kind of ensures the long-term affordability of the house itself. But for all of our buyers, we make sure that they are not cost burdened by this opportunity. And like I said earlier, we're trying to get them into an opportunity where they're paying less for a home ownership situation than they are right now with rent.
Mm-hmm. And I have seen a trend where rent is increasing. Usually you could find something in this area around $550, $650 a month. And I own, but just kind of seeing what's on social media for rent, they've jumped up to $1,000, $1,200 a month in rent. So yeah, you could definitely pay less a month on your mortgage than you are renting.
Absolutely.
What impact do you expect these 22 homes to have on the Vaile neighborhood in terms of stability, property values, and attracting new families?
Sure, I'll start there. I think the home ownership key will be so impactful for the neighborhood stability efforts, but then also with vibrancy, we think that what we saw happen during the building of the homes during the neighborhood stabilization process, as well as when homes came down as a part of the blight elimination program. And then when there was the owner-occupied rehab that happened as a part of the Stellar development, you started to see neighbors do a little bit more. They would dress up their homes with additional landscaping, or they might paint, or they're just getting excited to see that there's some effort being put into the neighborhood. And I think Jeb could speak a little bit more to that, to what he's seen in other neighborhoods outside of Richmond. But we hope that this will be a ripple effect for that neighborhood and others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would add, like, the elimination of vacant lots. You don't really realize how much those lots kind of drag down property values, and how much they're kind of a public liability in a way. Richmond code enforcement may be called out to these vacant properties. Again, like, they're just a liability. So by removing those and creating, very high quality, affordable housing for home ownership, you've got that stability, you've got that level of like vibrancy, like Sarah said. So yeah, and we do in other areas. We're working in South Bend, Indianapolis, Shelbyville. We see, like, when one of our homes goes up, we see other homes getting fixed up. That longtime home buyer maybe, or homeowner, is finally like fixing something in their front yard, or they believe again that their neighborhood is where it's at.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, Mayor and I was actually discussing that when we were walking around Vaile neighborhood. You can see the people living in that neighborhood, they're starting to put a new roof or paint or have decorations out, keep the lawn. And it's kind of like in your own neighborhood when you see the neighbors out mowing and weeding, like, oh, I need to get out there and do that so my grass isn't taller than theirs.
Yep, keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yes, exactly. What does success look like for this project 5 to 10 years down the road?
Well, it's a part of Interurban, which is the consultant that we're working with in the Star District, which is a part of this overall Wayne County Blight Bundle. We've just recently seen some of the census numbers that have come out from both the Star neighborhood and the Vaile neighborhood, and how they have transitioned over the last 10 years. And we've seen increases in home ownership. We've seen increases in population in that neighborhood, believe it or not, where there's not a lot of population growth in other census tracts, let alone the city or the county. But also income levels have gone up in that area. And we've also seen a price increase in home values. So as a part of what happened 10 years ago between the neighborhood stabilization, the blight elimination, in addition to owner-occupied rehab, we've seen those increases happen over this last 10 years. And so those numbers just came out in January, so we're still kind of pulling through them, but we have seen the difference. And like you said, you see a lot of positive signals in the neighborhood of people that are caring, long-term homeowners in the area. There are a lot of people in that neighborhood that do care and have been in that neighborhood a long time.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And if you haven't drove down South 13th or 14th, I would recommend going down and just kind of taking a look, and you can see changes already happening.
Yeah, and actually, just last week we had a group that contacted us that said, "Hey, we want to organize some neighborhood cleanups in the Vaile neighborhood." And so we said, "That sounds great." And so I told Bennett about it, and he says, "I want to talk to them." So we're already seeing some of the neighborhood partners come in and say, "Hey, we want to be there. We want to help you." Another that we didn't talk about earlier, but I do want to make sure I plug them in, is Richmond Power and Light. They were another one that we called, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll bury the lines for you guys." That's going to come at cost for them, but it also acts as a in-kind donation or contribution to the project. So another shout out to Richmond Power and Light. Thank you.
And it really is a team effort. It's not just one organization. It is a handful that are coming together to make sure that this project happens.
Yes.
So really, the last question that I have for you guys is, if this project is successful, are there plans to expand this model to other neighborhoods in Richmond or Wayne County?
Yes. So like I mentioned earlier, we are working with Interurban, which is out of the Sagamore Institute. As a part of their consulting efforts, they will be creating a neighborhood revitalization plan for the Star District. And with that plan, they're looking at a lot of different signals, both from the Census Bureau as well as on the ground research. So they've done a neighborhood assessment. We look to have some of the information from them in June, but that is really intended to be a pilot. And both of these programs in Vaile and Star are intended to be pilots, where in Vaile, we're building 22 new homes in that neighborhood. In Star, there will be 22 rehabilitated homes for sale, homeownership opportunities in that neighborhood. So those are intended to be two pilots of two different revitalization efforts kind of happening simultaneously that we could then deploy into other neighborhoods, not just in Richmond, but in Wayne County as well.
And I think that's really important, too, to rehab those homes in Star. Star is a historic neighborhood, historic district, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, but we need to keep that history.
Yes, so there are 6 National Register districts in Richmond alone. Pretty much a lot of Cambridge City as well is a historic district as far as their residential areas around their downtown. But Star is very beautiful architecture within that neighborhood, and like you said, it deserves to be revitalized.
Mm-hmm. I know. I think R&R has actually been working on a home over there in that neighborhood, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Mm-hmm. They're doing a great job.
They are. It looks amazing. So I would say, if you haven't checked it out, drive by it or get on R&R and look and see at the work they're doing. See the work that you guys are doing at the EDC in Tend, Indiana, and definitely sign up for the Home Ownership 101 program that starts on April 7th. And if you can't make April, get the next one in August. Is there any last thing you want the community to know about your guys' efforts for the Vaile Neighborhood Project?
I would just say thank you to the EDC, the Wayne County Foundation, the City of Richmond, Wayne County, everybody here for having us come to your community and do this work. We've talked a lot about partnership, collaboration. That is critical. And Wayne County is one of just the amazing communities that we work with. And because of that collaboration, we're able to make all these awesome things happen and play just a small role in the work you guys are doing.
Yes, and also there's just been so many partners. I probably didn't mention everyone, but just thank you for all the partnership in this effort. There's been a lot of good energy around it, and we're just really hopeful to get the next 22 homes sold in the Vaile neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting. I mean, I keep saying it. Exciting things are happening in Richmond, Wayne County with all of the revitalization projects. And I just want to thank you guys for everything that you are doing towards bettering the quality of life, quality of place for Richmond.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
for having us.
That's Inside Richmond, the city's pulse. Make sure to join us next time.